What's up guys, my name is Sion and I want to welcome you to my corner. The Elimination Chamber match has been one of the most anticipated stipulations since its debut in 2002. Every WWE fan has enjoyed at least one of these matches, and each of us holds a special place in our hearts for the one that left a lasting mark. Of course, there are also those that we will remember forever, unfortunately not always for the right reasons. But out of the 34 times this brutal structure has been used, there are some matches that have faded into the shadows, forgotten by most fans. That's exactly what I'm diving into today, those underrated Elimination Chamber matches that, despite their quality, don't get the recognition they deserve. I'll share my thoughts on each one and recommend those that I believe are worth revisiting. So, without further ado, let's jump into the 8 most forgotten Elimination Chamber matches. Let's begin with the last Elimination Chamber before the pandemic. On February 27, The Miz and John Morrison captured the SmackDown Tag Team Championships from The New Day. Just the following week on SmackDown, it was announced that they will defend the titles inside the Elimination Chamber against The New Day, The Usos, Heavy Machinery, Lucha House Party, and the team of Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode. With only 2 weeks of build-up, their only interaction before the match was a gauntlet match to determine who would enter the chamber last, which was won by Ziggler and Roode. The match itself was packed with memorable moments. The New Day and the Usos started things off with their usual entertaining sequences, proving once again why they are such reliable performers. Lucha House Party made an immediate impact with their incredible high-flying moves, including a standout moment where Lince Dorado climbed to the top of the chamber and executed a breathtaking shooting star press to the other superstars. Dolph Ziggler spent much of the match trying to evade Heavy Machinery as he and Otis were embroiled in a love triangle with Mandy Rose at the time. This led to one of the match's most memorable spots, where Otis attempted to tackle Ziggler through one of the pots, as the enter leaf fell outside the ring instead. Another highlight came when the Usos simultaneously jumped from the pots to deliver a double super splash onto Dolph and Robert. The final sequences were particularly thrilling, keeping viewers on the edge of the seats as it felt like any team could walk out as champions. This match deserves more attention. Perhaps due to the poor build-up, as it was only 2 weeks after the previous event, it is not very well remembered. However, if anyone hasn't seen it, it comes highly recommended. Every team brought something unique to the table, making the match a truly entertaining spectacle. Now, let's talk about the most recent match on this list. Typically, the women's division matches don't get as much consideration when people discuss memorable Elimination Chamber matches. This is often because the focus tends to lean more toward the men's matches, even when the women's match outperforms the men's. However, that's not the case for the 2023 Elimination Chamber match. Let's go to that event. The match featured Asuka, Nikki Cross, Liv Morgan, and Raquel Rodriguez, who qualified as they were all runners-up in the Royal Rumble. Natalya and Carmella were later added to the match after winning their respective qualifying matches. All 6 women were vying for the opportunity to challenge Bianca Belair for the Raw Women's Championship at WrestleMania 39. The match itself had its moments but fell short of being truly memorable. The first half of the match was largely uneventful, with the only standout moment being Nikki Cross jumping from one of the pots. Things picked up slightly when Liv Morgan leaped from another pot to deliver an impressive sunset flip powerbomb on Raquel Rodriguez. However, the match suffered a lack of creativity using the chamber structure. Several spots were repeated, such as putting opponents' heads through the chains of the wall, which happened like 3 times. The pace improved once Asuka entered the match as the final participant, but by then it was too late. The match lasted less than 20 minutes and the most entertaining portion was over far too quickly. While I'll often argue that the women's division is overlooked in stipulation matches, sometimes delivering better performances than men's, this particular match doesn't fall into that category. Unfortunately, this one is skippable. Now, let's jump to the 2012 edition of the Elimination Chamber event. That night featured 2 chamber matches with both World Championships on the line. While the World Heavyweight Championship match nearly made it into this video, thanks to the unforgettable moment where we almost got Santino Marella as World Champion, it's a WWE Championship match that takes the spotlight here. CM Punk, during his historic WWE Championship reign, was set to defend his title inside the Elimination Chamber against Chris Jericho, Dolph Ziggler, Kofi Kingston, R-Truth, and The Miz. Jericho earned the right to enter the match last after winning a six-pack challenge involving all the competitors. The match itself had its moments, but it didn't fully deliver as a standout Elimination Chamber match. The early stages were relatively uneventful, with only a few enjoyable sequences and spots to keep things moving. However, the storytelling between Punk and Jericho was a highlight, as the rivalry was heavily emphasized through the match, building anticipation for their eventual clash at WrestleMania. If I had to name an MVP, it would be a tie between Dolph Ziggler and Kofi Kingston, as both were involved in most of the match key spots. One of the most impressive moments came when Kofi leaped from the top of the pod onto a Punk and Miz, showcasing his athleticism and adding some much needed excitement. While the match was entertaining, it fell short of what you'd expect from an Elimination Chamber match. It had good sequences, solid storytelling, and strong performances from all competitors, but it lacked the creative use of the chamber structure and didn't deliver many truly memorable moments. If you're looking for an entertaining multi-man match, this one is worth a watch, but it doesn't quite reach the heights of some of the better chamber matches in history. Elimination Chamber 2011 featured what is probably one of the most random WWE Championship matches ever, where The Miz defended his title against none other than Jerry the King Lawler, a semi-retired wrestler. Meanwhile, inside the Elimination Chamber, 6 men battled for a shot at the championship at WrestleMania 27. Those men were John Cena, CM Punk, John Morrison, Randy Orton, R-Truth, and Sheamus. The match itself was a showcase of storytelling and athleticism. A couple of rivalries were highlighted through, like Sheamus and John Morrison, who reignited their hostilities from the previous year, while CM Punk and Randy Orton continued their ongoing feud. However, the undisputed star of the match was John Morrison. He delivered some incredible moves, including the match's most unforgettable spot, climbing to the top of the chamber and landing on Sheamus with a breathtaking splash. This moment stands as one of the highlights of Morrison's entire career and solidified him as the MVP of this match. While Morrison stole the show, the other superstars also delivered strong performances, making this a highly entertaining match that kept the crowd on their feet. The storytelling was engaging and the action was fast-paced, but the match doesn't get talked about as much as it should. This is likely due to the predictable outcome, as there were no other viable options to win besides John Cena, who ultimately emerged victorious. Despite that, it remains a standout chamber match worth revisiting. Now, let's talk about the counterpart to the previous match, the Elimination Chamber match for the World Heavyweight Championship, with the Royal Rumble winner Alberto Del Rio choosing to challenge for the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania. A match was announced to determine who his opponent will be. The participants included the champion Edge, Big Show, Drew McIntyre, Kane, Rey Mysterio, and Wade Barrett. The match was a thrilling display of chaos and storytelling. Kane, in particular, was an absolute wrecking machine. As soon as he entered, he unleashed destruction on everyone in his path, showcasing his dominance. Of course, no Elimination Chamber match will be complete without the classic jumping from a pod spot, and this time it was Rey Mysterio who delivered, leaping with a flying senton onto the Big Show. The match heart, however, lay in Edge and Rey Mysterio. They were the ones who started and ended the match, delivering incredible sequences and near falls that made you believe either could walk out as champion. Their chemistry and history added a layer of magic that only these two longtime rivals could provide. Overall, this was a great match with excellent use of the chamber structure. Every competitor had their moment to shine and the pacing kept the audience engaged from start to finish. It's a match that deserves more recognition than it gets and comes highly recommended for any fan of the Elimination Chamber stipulation. No Way Out 2008 held a unique distinction. Neither of the two Elimination Chamber matches on the card were for a championship. Instead, both matches were designed to determine the number one contender for their respective world titles at WrestleMania 24. It was the only edition with this particularity until 2024. This setup came about because Royal Rumble winner John Cena chose to challenge the WWE Champion Randy Orton at No Way Out, rather than waiting for the showcase of the Immortals. The first Chamber match featured Triple H, Chris Jericho, Jeff Hardy, JBL, Shawn Michaels, and Umaga. The match itself was a mixed bag. For the first 75%, not much of note happened outside of JBL's elimination and his post-elimination antics. However, things picked up significantly when Jeff Hardy entered as the final participant. Umaga, portrayed as an unstoppable beast through his time in the match, seemed nearly impossible to eliminate. This led to one of the match's standout moments where all the remaining competitors worked together to take him down. capped off by an incredible swanton bomb from Jeff Hardy off the top of one of the pots. Jeff instantly became the star of the match the moment he entered, with the crowd erupting for every move he hit, dreaming of him finally securing that world title match. 2008 was undeniably Jeff Hardy's year, and this match was another testament to his rising star power. That said, the match as a whole fell a bit short given the caliber of the talent involved. The first portion lacked striking sequences and failed to take full advantage of the chamber structure. However, the final 10 minutes were excellent, with the competitors giving it their all and delivering a thrilling conclusion. While the match isn't a must-watch in its entirety, the final stretch is absolutely recommended. We don't need to go too far for our next match on the list. Let's talk about the other Elimination Chamber match from No Way Out 2008. This one was to determine the number 1 contender for the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania 24, featuring The Undertaker, Batista, Big Daddy B, Finlay, MVP, and The Great Khali. What can I say about this match? To keep it short, it was essentially a Batista vs Undertaker showdown inside the chamber, with the two of them eliminating the other participants along the way. If I have to highlight a moment, it will be when The Undertaker threw MVP off one of the pots, or some of the brief but impactful spots they executed on the chamber floor. The match's lack of memorability likely stems from the fact that there were no other viable winners besides Batista and Taker, and they didn't waste much time on the competitors who had no real chance of winning. If you're looking for an entertaining Elimination Chamber match, this one isn't for you. And if you're hoping for a great Undertaker vs Batista encounter, they have had far better one-on-one matches than what this chamber match delivered. Its forgotten status is totally deserved. For the final match in this video, we fast forward to the 2013 edition of the Elimination Chamber, with the Royal Rumble winner, John Cena, already set to challenge for the WWE Championship at WrestleMania 29. One of the chamber matches was dedicated to determine the challenger for the World Heavyweight Championship. After a series of qualifying matches, the participants were Jack Swagger, Chris Jericho, Daniel Bryan, Kane, Mark Henry, and Randy Orton. The match had its moments but ultimately fell short of expectations. Mark Henry entered like a wrecking ball, destroying everyone in his path and leaving a trail of bodies behind him. As often happens in these scenarios, it took a coordinated effort from the other superstars to neutralize him. Beyond that, the match felt rather ordinary. The chamber itself was underutilized, with only a few uninspired spots involving the structure. The most entertaining portion came towards the end, when only Randy Orton, Chris Jericho, and Jack Swagger remained. These three showed great chemistry, delivering solid sequences and a few near falls that briefly elevated the match. Despite the decent final 3 minutes, this match isn't worth going out of your way to watch. The lack of creativity with the chamber structure and the absence of truly spectacular spots make it one of the most forgettable entries in the Elimination Chamber history. And that's all for today's video. If this brought back memories of these matches or sparked your interest in revisiting them, don't forget to leave a like and drop a comment below. If you enjoyed the content, make sure to hit that subscribe button for more. Thanks for watching and see you!